very next day, and I'm sitting here in a place, well, near to that reduta that you saw yesterday. Well, you may have seen it in the same film as this. I don't know how I'm going to divide it, but anyway, here I am, and I've got beer, because actually the beer is more cheap than the water. Here's the beer, is 1.3 litres, costs €1.30, okay, for 0.3 litres, which is a third of a litre, which is over half a pint in theory, although most of it was froth when I got it. Whereas the Borto, in fact, that's 0.40, but for 100th of a litre. So if you actually get a whole litre of water, it would cost you €40, which is extremely shocking. That's what it says here. Look at it. And the same for juice, fruit juice. 0.01 litre it will cost you €60 to get to a full litre of fruit juice, which is really quite shocking. You wouldn't find that anywhere, even in Paris, to get to that kind of price. So of course here you've got a complete absence of service of any kind of quality in any event. So I thought the beer was quite cheap comparing to the just $1.30 for that, was, in comparison with what I could be paying if I'd have made the foolish mistake of having water. So what am I going to get? I'm going to get this, which is it says here, chicken salad stuffed peach. So that's broskinia pełniona kurycą salatą. For the second, well, I had a bit of a problem. I could have had this good grub of cheese, as it's called, syrowa baszta, good grub of cheese. This is publican's soft pickled centre cheese, or publican's, it's worse than Peter Piper, isn't it? Publican's pickled soft centre cheese, and that's des Wurtens Hermelin, that's German of course, so Sir Germelin Marinade. So here you have collared pork with onion, you've got fried bacon bits with onion, but these are all brewers' snacks, as they call them. So it's what I've actually chosen for the second is something called smunda, which I've never heard of before, but it's apparently a potato pancake, cabbage and smoked. And what smoked it is, I just don't know, but it says it's smunda, which is potato pancake, cabbage and smoked. According to the other bits, kurkovichka and halstuk and svinoi asheik, the Russian's the only one that actually makes an awful lot of sense. Basically it's a smoked pig's neck. Here you have utopinets, which is called in English the pickled sausage slice, but in German it's called der Ertrunkene, which means the same as in here. It means the drowning ones. Utoplionik as well in Russian is the drowning ones. So obviously it's some sausage pickled which looks like a drowning man. There's some interesting things going on in this menu, that's for sure. So here you actually have a Montenegro pork fillet, which you wouldn't get in America, although you might well get it in some of the republics of former Yugoslavia. So it's nice, it's good clement evening, not too cool, not too warm. So I think I'm going to enjoy it, and I'll film the food when it comes. Some other interesting details from the menu. Chewing gum is on the menu at position 219. The one piece of chewing gum is 30 cents. So if you get a kind of pack which has got like 20 pieces in it, then you've got to pay about €6 for that, so there'll be about like £5 or £6 for a pack of chewing gums. Here you have one piece of matches. Yeah, it doesn't even give you the price for the cigarettes. It's 20 pieces or 10 pieces, but it's so expensive that you're supposed to negotiate. Whereas in the case of matches, zapalki, one individual match, not a box of matches, one match will cost you 20 euros. So you would get, if you for example had a box of matches with 20 euro cents. So if you had a box of matches with 100 matches in, well, that would cost you about 20 euros again. So there you are. The prices here are really very high, and you have to be a rich man to eat in this country. So here it is, that lovely peach with the chicken salad inside. There's a bread basket with nice bread. The cutlery is too far away to reach, actually. It's been left right over there. But I think I'll stretch to it. Okay. Dobro chuť. So, here, placed down half a mile away from me, is the second course. It's mundo. So it's smoked. Got a decent piece of smoked ham in there with a nice portion of cabbage in a potato pancake. So that looks pretty decent, I have to say. The peach chicken salad was actually pretty good. So as you can see, I decided to round the meal off with a cup of rosy Lee and my gold list. And this is pure Assam specialty, as you can see here. And it's become very, very popular to put the same languages on the back of the tea bag, which I can't focus on very well because it's small print. But basically, you've got Assam Special. Sorry, it's not. It's just Assam Special, which to me isn't really German, but afterwards it's got Schwarzer tea, and it's got Pure Assam Special, Thé Noir in French, and it's got Assam Especial, or Especial if it's continental Spanish, is it Té Negro. So, the Spanish. But not to be outdone, the Dutch come in with a double A on Special, so Assam Special is Zwarte Thee. So, then we have Assam Special, because it's not really being translated into Polish, even though they could, I suppose. But they've decided it's a proper name and not trying to translate it when it comes to Polish. Even though they've done it for other languages. And so they call it Herbata Czarna. And for some strange reason they've started to use all capital letters at the beginning of each word from this point on. And then we have Assam Special, and that's got the sh on it. For that's Slovak, Čierny Čaj, and then almost the same but with the accent in a different place and no sh. Assam Special is Černý Čaj for the Czech Republic. And then you have Assamo Special. Assamo Special. And you have Kocha written after it in Japanese. And then you have the Chinese equivalent. And I just can't read that. Because I'm not good enough at Chinese, unfortunately. Except for the end, which has got Gong Cha written on it. Red tea. That much I can read. But you have to be a polyglot to drink a cup of tea these days, you know. Just normal Isles tea. It's from Darboven in Hamburg, packed in Germany, Isles. And I had to take the bag out quickly because it's Assam, and I've got a friend who, I won't mention his name because he doesn't like being mentioned personally, but he sums up Assam tea very well. He says it tastes like Gandhi's flip-flops. so I just didn't want to make that too strong, that flavour. And I've come to the end of my battery, so that's the end of my witticisms as well for today, I suppose. So thanks for watching. So it's the next evening with a brand new camera. There's that lovely tree again. And have a crack at seeing the centre a little bit. This time in the light. We filmed it before in the winter. I could barely hold the camera because it got so cold. See what happens tonight. Something down there called Central Passage. Doesn't give you much time to cross the road, that's for sure, does it? Started crossing on green and here I am caught out. It's not what we expect. So here we have Laurinska ulica. With a sushi bar in it. Far back. So there we have a nice looking old town area with like a portcullis affair. Sushi bar. That's handbags, not sushi. Not quite sure what that's all about. That's the City Gate passage over there. I don't know what that's got in it. This is Divadlo P.O. Bratislava, which P.O. I don't know what that's, presumably that's his initials. P.O. Some kind of like almost stained glass windows up there on that theatre. And a statuette on the building of a naked lady. So what they're showing, Ako Shlovite na Wanderowku. It sounds like how the eggs went for a walk, but I'm not sure whether that's true. Or how an egg went for a walk, is it? I can't be sure. That's what it sounds like. Ivanov, that's obviously Chekhov in the second place. Abudeme se shepkat, what's that? We shall whisper to each other? Not sure. This one here is Volchik, Little Wolf, by Vasily Sigarev. Presumably that's also one of the homemade things. There's Miroslav Donutil, Cestou ne cestou, Travelling and Not Travelling, a one-man show, it's in English. Sen Shluk, no idea what that means. Lav, presumably it looks like they're in a public lav. Listening to each other. She's got industrial glasses, I'm not sure what that's for. Milostny dopisy, love letters, Albert Ramsdell Gurney. This is Eduardo Rovna Vratila se jednou v noci. She came back at 1 in the evening. There's a gentleman confessing his undying love to somebody dressed in rather sort of 1920s clothing. in her lingerie. He's wearing a skull cap. So there's Mr. Stefanik by Oshoff. This is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. So that's probably for children. There's Odysseus by Michael Kochab and André Soth. There was me thinking it was Homer. And Divadlo Nie Zivadlo. Not quite sure what that pun means. The theatre is not something for yawning, is it? Zev, Ziv, was this about yawning, or is it? I'm not sure. Just guessing. I don't speak Slovak and I'm not intending to learn it. So I don't really understand a lot of that. Companies have got their head offices here. It's a nice street. Nice bit of lettering up there on that roof. Some stage I should eat and not too late. I don't know whether this is a good place for it. This is pizza. I don't really want to eat pizza. See what else there is. This is the bookshop. Knihi Module. Not sure what they're there for, why these people are here for, but that looks like the teacher because she's an engineer. Well, if you're a teacher, you have to be an engineer in this country. And all the students. So that's what the sorts of books they've got in here. There's another thing that looks like a school. This one's been put together in black and white and a little bit more style to it than the other one. Can't see where the engineer is on this though. Maybe the engineer, oh, up here. So, well, not necessarily. Difficult to say. Homologia is the study of apples. You can take that at university. Over here we have Oxford Bookshop selling foreign literature. See what that one has on offer. It's probably, ought to pick it up maybe because it's making a lot of background noise for the film. I'm sure you'd rather listen to the birds in the background. So what have we got here? We've got Colloquial Slovak. We've got Langenscheid's Slovak. No, German dictionary. So we've got books or knigi, Bücher, libri, libros, livres. So you've got a whole load of alternatives. And where's the book? Where's the window where they're showing off their wares? Hopefully down the side here. Well, that's almost kiddies courses. I'm not quite sure how this classifies as literature, but the Times Atlas of the World is obviously a nice piece. I quite like the Times Historical Atlas, but by the time you get it, it's already out of date because more history has happened that isn't included. The old stuff still stays the same, so that's all right. That reminds me of the penguin joke. Interesting stuff. If you want to live in a sort of, this is Vision Interiors, Visione, lots of black and gold, which is quite a nice combination really. Somebody's yelling. Laurinska. Oh, this is Restaurante Torrida de Toros. Obviously a Spanish note there in the whole thing. And here we have it. Bratislava City Library in 2 languages. So presumably there are some English books in there for those who want them. This guy seems to be insistently whistling to somebody up there. There's a Chinese restaurant here, that's a thought, isn't it? They usually don't rip you off too much in Chinese restaurants. This is a kind of interesting coffee shop. Another one here, Siesta Cafe. This is China food. It's got its characters for whatever it is in script that I can't hope to understand because it seems very, very partial. I'm not sure even that the last one is all there, or the parts of it haven't fallen off. But nevertheless, maybe this is a good place to try. So here I am. I've just ordered. I've got my good old goal list to do some work on it. And here I am sitting outside. The lady, very nice lady, spoke to me in English, and I spoke a little Chinese, but my Chinese is not very good, so I didn't say a lot, but she understood what I said, and she answered with a kind of Shanghai, what I understand to be Shanghai dialect. And she was okay about me sitting outside, even though it's extra work, I suppose, because I just said I like to sit out and have the fresh air. So it's very nice. Oh, 很好，谢谢.
Please.
So there we are. Beautiful. That's the jasmine tea, and shortly I shall get my spring roll, and after that I've got pork in a funny sauce, which I don't know what the sauce is, but it had a nice picture. It was very dark, and she said it was slightly sweet and slightly spicy, so that'd be interesting to know what it is when it comes. So this, remarkably, with a lot of broccoli on it, which I don't quite remember seeing on the film, but other than that, on the fact that I don't remember the broccoli, which is healthy, I suppose. I don't like it, but I'll eat it. It looks very similar to what was on the picture. There's egg fried rice as well, which is a nice delicacy. So I've got my jasmine tea, so I'm going to tuck in. Dobro chuť. So I've now left the China food place back in the street again. This restaurant's called Paparazzi, and it's got a statue of a real paparazzi on the corner there with his camera lens looking at the people who are eating here in the area outside. Well, they can barely complain if somebody films them if they're eating at a restaurant called Paparazzi. So here we go. This bit's a little bit less traditional style architecture, this one here. On the other side you've got the traditional one. So this is pointing down to the Osobny Pristav and up to the Hlavny Amnesty. So presumably then the best way to go would be to follow the route to the main square, which is going up here. There's that little bit of the old ash cloud then, because I can see some colour in the sky. Maybe that means that some of the ash cloud has come our way. They promised us all these lovely sunsets and nothing happened. The inevitable wooden toys. Another statue here. A chap with his hat off. I think that was the Pope, not the current one, but a previous one. And oh, here we go. That's interesting, isn't it? I think I'll get out into the middle of this and sort of do a 360 degree around this place. I don't know if this is what they call the main square. It can't be, can it? It is. It says main square, Hlavny Amnesty. There's a Japanese flag over that building. I don't know if that means it's a Japanese restaurant or what. That says Embassy of Greece. Better watch it in case anybody attacks it, because these days that is happening. Okay. How about that for some interesting architecture? The Vienna Insurance Group sits there. That's a Schoko Cafe, Maximilian Delicatesso. Over there. Here's a very fine fountain. It looks as though it's made up of several Belgian boys. I won't film necessarily that corner because they're still going to come to it. These are all these little huts in this area here, a little bit like those ones that you get in Prague for the markets, the various funny markets that they have. So that's obviously a town hall of sorts, isn't it? That one there. And those interesting colours on the windows. Sorry if I... It's a bit unusual, isn't it? That isn't the time, incidentally. So it's certainly worth coming up a bit closer to. And who have we got here? I wonder if it's one of those statues that you pay them money to stand still, and it's really a person inside just covered in bronze. Is that the case here? The face is a little French. I wonder if that's supposed to be Napoleon. Maybe it's Napoleon leaning over so that people can kick his backside. Could be, couldn't it? Not entirely sure, but there we go. This is called Sedlarska ulica, which no doubt means something, but I don't know yet what it does mean. I'll probably be kicking myself when I find out. This says Pressburg Souvenirs, which is a reference to the historic name of Bratislava. And there's a picture of Bratislava Castle up on its hill, with the rest of the city just simple houses around it, no doubt referencing some time in the past. There's somebody with a sense of humour making nice faces for the camera. I hope he wasn't expecting to be paid, because if he was, he wasn't going to get it. There's the Dubliner pub. Some mellow music coming from somewhere. Not sure if it's live or not. Interpress, the right way for your press. Well, it's quite mellow, wasn't it? Quite pleasant. This is Steiner's old book, The Pickwick Papers, in an old Slovak edition. That's Stanislav Frank's famous major picture atlas of fishes. I already own that in 2 languages. This is the original, by the way, because he wrote it in Czech. Although that's Slovak, so it's not exactly the original. He wrote it in Czech, that's the Slovak version. I've got it in Polish and I've got it in English. But it is an extremely good book. It's a classic book. I think he wrote it in the 60s even, or the 70s. And it's been a favoured book of aquarists around the world. This would be a little bit on the dark side for... Oh, there we go. I can see the castle up there. But there's no real reason to go up there, is there? Today I don't want to do everything on one film. I'm quite happy just walking down here now. I feel like turning in gradually. Stanley Starożytności art. So there you go, old glasses, old cognac glasses in an old style. Antiques, generally speaking, antique decorations. So there you go, in a place like that you might get some bargains. If you know what you're doing, of course. You have to have watched a lot of these BBC programmes that my parents watch from daytime television. They don't watch them during the day. They tend to be out and about a bit during the day, and they set their recorder on to record it, and then when they get back in they watch it. So I wonder what this one is then. This one's the Austrian embassy, which of course used to be the people that were in charge here. So there we are. Unfortunately, every time you get one of these EU countries, they not only get to put up their own flag, but they get to put up another EU flag, which kind of begs the question: if we're all in one great big happy EU family, then what are we actually needing those embassies for between ourselves in the first place? What are all these buildings doing with EU flags all over them? And of course you know why there are 12 stars on the EU flag, even though there are not 12 members anymore. Every time they added new members, they added stars, like a little bit like the good old American states, until they got up to 12. And then when 3 more countries joined, which was I think when Finland and Austria joined and one other, I can't remember which one it was that joined with those 2, but was it Greece as well at that time? Not sure. But when they got over 12 and they got to 15, they didn't add in another 3 stars anymore. They just left it with, I think I'm talking about 1994 or something. They just left it as the Or am I talking 1993? They just left it as it was with the 12 stars. And if you don't know why there are 12 stars, then that's worth looking at and researching. So there you go. There's more to that old town than I thought there would be, because if you remember when I walked back down before, I didn't see anything like all that. So there's obviously more to this than meets the eye, and certainly more worth seeing for tourists than I thought. I used to kind of discount Bratislava as much of a tourist option, but actually there are things worth seeing, there are things worth doing. Personally, I like Warsaw. I like living in Warsaw, but I have to admit that there's not that much for tourists going on there. But even then I thought, well, at least it's probably better than Bratislava. But now that I've had a really good look at Bratislava, I'm not sure that's true. And I don't know how it is that I've been several visits to Bratislava and never actually gone around that bit. Maybe to people who live here it's just so obvious that they don't particularly want to go there. But seems strange and a bit of a pity that I didn't see it earlier. Oh, what we got here? Rock and Roma. So there you got Cal. Now Cal means muck, doesn't it? So why they call themselves that, I don't know. It's almost like a swimming pool. Very blue water, with fountains at regular intervals going down it. Not sure what all that's about. That's the American Embassy, which probably means that I got to get round behind it again, round the other way, to get to the hotel, because I'm at the back of the American embassies. You can't have two American embassies, that's got an American flag flying and the same fence at the front of it. Makes you think, doesn't it? None of the other embassies I've seen have had to have a sort of 8-foot high fence made out of tough metal put out around them and patrolling guards. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why does the American embassy feel it needs that degree of protection? Surely everybody loves the Americans, don't they? Who would do anything bad to them? Hollywood and all that stuff. It's such a great country to visit and everything. Why would their embassies need to be so strongly protected? What have they done to make everybody so, well, probably not everybody, but certain people so likely to want to attack them? I just don't understand it. Maybe it hasn't got to do with things which have happened already. Maybe it has to do with things which are going to happen in the possibly not too distant future. We shall see. But this is right, isn't it? This is where I've been before, so I can turn off now. And the lamps are nice and golden, and the water is blue, and some of the lamps are red. The trees are green, but not too far from now, and everything will be grey, because it will reach that time of the evening when you think you're seeing colours, but really you're seeing grey because there's not enough light for the colour, and the mind is filling the rest in for you. thank you for your company this fine evening. Beautiful sky. I enjoyed myself. And I enjoyed myself that little bit more knowing that I could share it with some of my loyal audience who find these films worth watching. Thank you for that, because it feels as though I've got you with me here a bit, even though I won't get your comments until rather later. So thank you, good night, and please keep watching.